This episode contains adult themes and is not appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Oh, hello, the world. This is They Will Kill, a true crime podcast. I am Courtney-ick.
And I'm Sadie-ick.
And it's Sadie's night. And it's Sadie's night. She's going to tell you something that's not right at all.
Pretty much.
What's on the docket?
This is the tragic murder of Kimberly and Alcee Perry.
Oh, boy.
In the fall of 2011, 32-year-old Kimberly Perry lived in the New Orleans neighborhood of Little Woods, which is located on the east side of the city, right along the shores of Lake Pontchartrain. Kim was a single mom of 4. She had 3 daughters and 1 son, and had grown up with 3 brothers of her own. She had recently moved her kids into the neighborhood, and they were excited for a fresh start. Especially, this is, 6 years after Katrina.
Oh, yeah.
Kim's oldest daughter, Kristen, described growing up in a large family full of aunts, uncles, and a ton of cousins. They were together all the time and loved it. Kim worked as a nurse and had recently started her own home health care business. Her services included offering health screening for houseless people. She was known as, quote, Kim Possible. No, because nothing could stop her. She worked incredibly hard to provide for her kids and be there when they needed her. Kim became friendly with her neighbors and even became best friends with a woman named Tiffany who lived next door. On the other side of her was the Perry family. The Perrys had 2 kids. 23-year-old Ryan was their oldest, and Ryan's little sister, who was much younger than him, she was on the autism spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan was known to be a loving big brother who would look after his sister. He also helped his dad, Kirby, with his lawn care business. Kim paid Kirby and Ryan to care for her lawn because she was too busy to get to it herself. Things between the neighbors started out friendly. Ryan was close enough in age to Kim's older kids that they would hang out in the front yard together from time to time. But things changed when Ryan's dad started having his son cut Kim's grass.
No, let's keep it good. It sounds really nice. It sounds very idyllic. Mm-hmm. End of story.
Yes. When he was the one to do the work, it looked terrible, and he would often mow down plants that Kim wanted to keep.
Oh no, the son did this?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. She eventually told her neighbors that she no longer needed their services. Kirby was understanding and even brought plants for Kim to replace the ones that had been damaged. But Ryan's attitude changed completely.
No. After
that, things between the neighbors turned awkward, and Ryan's attitude towards the family became hostile.
How old is Ryan again?
He's like 22, 23.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched a show about it, and they speculated that maybe Ryan had a little crush on Kim. She was very, very beautiful.
Uh-huh.
And said that maybe there was some hurt feelings there besides the lawn cutting. When Ryan's car was broken into, he blamed his neighbors. When Kimberly's car was broken into shortly after, her gun was stolen from the car, and she believed Ryan was the one who did it.
Uh-oh.
In June of 2011, Kimberly's brother, Alcee, and his family moved from Texas to New Orleans. Kim always had an open-door policy and was happy to let her older brother move in with her family until they found a place of their own. Alcee was described as lovable and funny, a big teddy bear. He was an elementary school special education teacher.
Oh, come on.
No, dude. And loved working with kids. He considered himself a good role model and father figure to a lot of the kids at school. Sort of a side note, I was looking through the newspaper archives just to see what might be available, and his name is unusual enough that an article popped up, and it was him sitting at a desk, and it was like talking about a new program that the school had put into place, and the teachers went to school early to learn about it. It was a totally separate article, but the picture happened to feature him. He's like sitting there looking all bright-eyed and big smile, and it's just like, oh, God.
Why? Why, universe? Why?
I don't know. On October 14th, 2011, Kimberly was coming home from work and was looking forward to spending time with her family over the weekend. Her kids were out front playing football while she cleaned out her car. Kim's neighbor Tiffany came out of her house to say hi, and the two chatted. They saw Ryan's truck coming down the residential street at a high rate of speed, driving erratically. He parked in front of Kim's house, and when he got out of the truck, he overheard Kim tell Tiffany that he was, quote, stupid for driving so dangerously.
Oh, boy.
Ryan confronted his neighbor, and Kim told him he needed to slow down and watch for kids that often played in the road. This started an argument, and the two started yelling. Both Kim and Ryan threatened to hurt each other. Kimberly told Ryan that if he didn't stop harassing her kids, she would do whatever she needed to do to protect them. Hearing the commotion, Ryan's mom came out and coaxed her son inside their home, but only a few minutes passed before Ryan came back outside to move his truck, and he and Kim started to fight again. This time, his dad came out of the house and brought Ryan back inside. A few hours passed without any trouble, until Kim's older brother Christopher came over with his girlfriend and their children. Christopher would later testify that when he arrived, he saw Ryan sitting in his car staring at Kim's house. He thought it was odd, but didn't think much of it at the time. Witnesses say around 8 p.m. that night, they saw Ryan standing in front of Kim's house. He was holding a large rifle.
Why, people? What is wrong with people?
Kim, who had been outside, came in and asked her sister-in-law where the, quote, gun was. But her sister told her she didn't need a gun. Kim went back outside, and then soon after called for her brothers to come to the front of the house. She needed their help. It's unclear if she saw... I assume she saw Ryan. It's unclear if she knew he was armed.
Right.
The brothers followed by Christopher's stepson, 7-year-old Robert, as they went to help their sister. Alcee saw Ryan out front of the house with the gun. He told the young man, quote, "You don't have to do this." Before anyone could stop him, Ryan started shooting.
What the fuck? Why? God, that's so crazy.
He would end up firing a total of 19 shots. Kim and Alcee were shot multiple times at close range and died at the scene. Robert, who had been inside the house at the time, was shot twice through the abdomen by 2 stray bullets. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, and after having emergency surgery, thankfully, he survived.
Thank God.
Although completely traumatized for the rest of his
Oh,
life.
I'm sure with serious complications as a result of the surgeries.
After shooting the family in front of multiple witnesses, Ryan was seen running from the house. 911 was called, and police were able to locate him. He was walking down a busy highway covered in blood. This was only about 30 minutes after the murder.
God.
They found 3 magazines for the .22 caliber rifle with more than 30 rounds still in them.
Jesus.
He quickly confessed to killing Kim and Alcee and initially told authorities he threw his rifle in a river, but would later admit that he hid the rifle in a shed behind his parents' house. After finding the murder weapon, they arrested Ryan and charged him with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Ryan was born and raised in New Orleans with his parents. He was known to have developmental delays as a child and mental health issues throughout his teen years, leading into his 20s. Ryan was bullied relentlessly at school. He was once beat up so badly by classmates that he had to be hospitalized for a few days. To make matters more complicated, in February of 2011, just 8 months before Kim and Alcee were murdered, Ryan was involved in another shooting that left 1 person dead.
What?
Ryan was home alone one afternoon, taking a nap, when 3 teens, 15-year-old Mushir Thomas and his 2 friends who were 15 and 16 years old, attempted to break into his home. According to the surviving witnesses, they walked to the back of the home where they cut off the power to the house. When no one came out to check the power, they assumed the house was empty. They then threw a brick through the back window to gain entry. Unbeknownst to them, the loud sound of glass breaking woke Ryan, who grabbed his rifle and went to investigate the noise. When the teen stuck his head into the window to see what was inside, Ryan shot him in the head.
Whoa. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. He fell back into the yard and watched as the other teens, who did not enter the home, tried to run away. Ryan came out of the yard and started shooting at them too.
Oof.
One teen was able to run away unharmed, but Mashir Thomas was shot 4 times. And Mashir was not the same boy who put his head through the window.
Mm-hmm.
He was also shot once in the head and died at the scene.
Oof.
The teen who survived said that he had to play dead so that Ryan would stop shooting him.
Oh, my God.
He was rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery and ended up losing his right eye.
Oof.
Louisiana has a very robust stand-your-ground law.
Mm-hmm, I believe that.
Mm-hmm. Allowing homeowners to shoot intruders. The law states that a resident does not have a duty to retreat and may, quote, stand his or her ground and meet force with force.
Mm-hmm.
But if the perpetrator retreats, that law no longer applies because it prevents entry into the home. So basically, if you start shooting and they run away, you can't chase them
Keep
down.
shooting.
Right.
Well, yeah. Also, duh.
Right. A homeowner is not allowed... Oh, I just... Yeah, my next sentence is... A homeowner is not allowed to chase down intruders and shoot them as they flee.
Yeah, good. That's hunting. That is something very different.
Mm-hmm.
And
Authorities...
probably a really good indication that you have a serious anger issue if you're the one doing it.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Authorities determined that Ryan shot the boys in self-defense and did not press any charges.
Oh, no.
It also doesn't sound like they did any sort of real investigation. I think one of the moms, I think it was the mom of the boy who died, said they never... No, it must have not been. It must have been the boy who lost his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Said that the police didn't even interview him about what happened.
Wow.
And then when police got word of her saying that, they were like, yeah, of course we tried. And she didn't want them to. And she's like, I know I want them to. You know, like these boys got charged and arrested for burglary. And she was like, no, I would have been happy to talk about how this kid, like, stalked them and shot them and came out of his house to shoot them more. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that children are dead and my son is permanently wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine that is real quick, like, wrap it up for cops, you know?
Yeah, well,
especially in the
New Orleans.
South.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, where I'm sure people break into homes all the time and, you know, like, okay, yep, you shot him. They shouldn't have broken in. We're done.
Well, and
Case
around that
closed.
time, leading up to that, there's like 48 Hours episodes about it, and a friend of a friend actually got murdered, unfortunately, in a home invasion. But there were just rampant home invasions post-Katrina, where people were just coming into people's homes and willy-nilly shooting for no reason and then leaving.
Yep.
So they had a lot going on at the time, and I'm sure, it was the least of their worries.
Yep, unfortunately. So Mashir's autopsy report would later show that the boy had bullet entry points to both the front and back of his body.
Mm-hmm.
He was shot in the back of the neck and the thigh, as well as the eye in the front of the thigh.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly he was trying to run.
Right.
The forensic pathologist who performed the autopsy for the Orleans Parish Coroner's Office found no visible gunshot powder or soot marks on either Mashir's skin or clothing. Experts expect to find powder if shots were fired at very close range, such as within a few feet.
Right.
So the evidence suggests that Mashir was killed while running away, while being a far distance from Ryan.
Motherfucker.
There's no evidence that the police tried very hard to determine if the shooting fit the criteria of stand your ground law. They also didn't offer Ryan any resources, like counseling, after the incident. They just sent him on his way to kill again.
What the fuck?
No.
Who's in charge? I would like to speak to the manager of New Orleans, because what the fuck?
Seriously, I know. Like, regardless, even if he really... I mean, he very well could have been afraid for his life. I would be fucking terrified if somebody broke through my window and there's 3 of them. And I get it.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
But I also would really struggle if I murdered I killed somebody, even if it was in self-defense, and would need help dealing with that trauma.
Totally.
And
also, if you're like, okay, I get it, you panicked, but in your panic, your fight response was so strong that you chased these boys down and shot at them multiple times until they were dead. Let's talk about that. Let's investigate that.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that that's been resolved before we set you free to do it again, because you're probably going to, especially if I let you off without any kind of consequences or repercussions or fucking therapy or anything, because now you have this sort of elevated sense of power that nobody can mess with you, and your trauma of being bullied as a child is going to fuel that. Doesn't take a fucking rocket science.
Nope.
Feel free to call me.
Right.
Manager of New Orleans,
right?
If you
Well,
need
you've
to
got a young
process
boy
it.
with mental health issues and delays, and he's beaten so badly that he has to be hospitalized for days.
Yeah.
Like that trauma alone,
Yeah.
like that's setting
The
up
anger. Yeah.
and just some really severe paranoia, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, you're just he's like primed. This kid is
Ready to
being
kill.
primed to
Yep.
defend himself the only way he knows how, which is with a gun.
And he's probably spent some time on fucking 8chan or in the streets or wherever you build each other up and get each other all pumped up because you're all fucking super traumatized and you're trauma bonded and you're like, yeah, fuck that motherfucker.
Yep. To make matters worse, Ryan learned that Moshier went to the same small charter school as Kimberly's oldest daughter, Kristen, and the two knew each other before his death. So Kristen and Moshier knew each other.
Right.
Ryan started to believe the Perry children had told the other group of teens to target his house to rob.
Oh, shit.
Ryan's paranoia toward the Perry family would continue to grow until it reached a head on that October night. Ryan went to trial in February of 2014. Ryan's defense team did not try to claim their client was innocent, but instead tried to say his history of being a victim of violence caused him to have a heightened state of paranoia, leading him to kill Kim and Alcee.
Yep.
After his home invasion, Ryan's paranoia grew out of control. Ryan's father, Kirby, took the stand and said after the break-in, Ryan became more withdrawn, rarely leaving the house, and refused to get counseling. He took Ryan's guns away for a while, but eventually gave them back after Ryan pleaded with them to be returned. Ryan said he only felt safe when he had them.
Yep.
Ryan's mother, Clarissa, testified to the mental health problems that her family had, including her own struggles with depression. She told the jury that on the day of the shooting, her son and Kimberly got into an argument outside, and he was very upset because, according to Ryan, Kimberly had threatened him. Clarissa said she forced her son inside, quote, to defuse the argument, and then about 3 hours later, she noticed police car lights through her window.
Oh, God. Can you imagine?
No.
Just, what have you done, kid?
She had no idea that Ryan went back outside with his rifle, and she did not witness the shooting. Both sides called expert witnesses to the stand to testify about Ryan's mental health. One of the defense witnesses is an expert in clinical forensic and neuropsychology. They believed on the day of the shooting, Ryan suffered from a delusional disorder, precursory type. So that means they believe someone is out to get them or someone close to them.
Yep.
And they often fear for their own lives.
Yep.
Which is a mental illness that rendered him unable to distinguish right from wrong when he shot Kim and Alcee. The doctor testified that people with this disorder hold on to some sort of false belief about those around them, but can usually conduct day-to-day functions without trouble. So, I don't know if you've dealt with paranoid people in your life before.
Yeah. Not for a while, but yes.
Yes. I do. I have, regularly, and it's interesting, just that, there's always a heightened state of who's out to get me sort of thing. And
totally.
Yeah, it's intense, and they function normally otherwise, but there's always this layer of, I better watch out because everybody's coming at me all the time, and that's a huge trauma response, for sure.
For sure.
It's all you've known. It's in your body. You have to constantly be on the lookout.
Right. Yeah. Permanent flight mode. Yeah. I think a lot about that too with the gun debate. and the people that I know who are vehemently like, you are not taking my fucking gun, are people who have been in the military and have PTSD. And, you know, it's like a part of me deeply empathizes with that, you know, like security blanket of having a fucking gun. Because I'm like, I can't imagine that level of fear and trauma. And like nothing else makes me feel okay but having a fucking gun, you know?
Right. Yes.
It's so tragic.
Right. It really is. Especially, you know, like if we're using military as an example, when the gun is literally the thing that keeps them alive.
Yep. Right, exactly. Yes. Yeah, it's the only thing that's the only reason I'm here. You're not taking it.
No.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep. And I'm not pro-gun. Let's be very clear. I fucking hate the things, but I can understand that and deeply empathize with that. I don't think it's the answer, but I completely understand it.
Sure. Especially if there's a lack of any other resources. For people to overcome their trauma.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for people to go undiagnosed for a long time. Usually there's no diagnosis until something terrible happens.
Yeah, I believe that.
She also testified that the defendant had some features of schizoid and paranoid personalities, but did not diagnose him with a personality disorder. Ryan's defense team claimed Ryan had looked out his window and saw a group of cars pull up to the Perry house. In Ryan's mind, he saw a, quote, war party arriving.
Yep.
The Perry family was his enemy that needed to be stopped. Quote, Ryan absolutely believed that his life was in danger.
Yep.
And I honestly believe that I think the defense is very strong on all of those parts. I don't believe that it's okay that he killed Kim and Alcee, but I do believe that he had some super severe mental shit happening to him.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
The prosecution had 2 experts testify to Ryan's mental state. They both testified that at the time of the shooting, Ryan did not suffer from any mental illness that kept him from understanding right from wrong. They said that when Ryan left the scene of the crime and concealed his gun in the shed, it proved his guilt. They also said that Ryan was able to give a detailed account of the events leading up to the shooting, which, according to them, did not reflect a break with reality and did not show that he was delusional. They both said that they found no signs that the defendant had a major psychiatric illness. They also talked, I guess I didn't write this in here, but how when he lied to the police and said, no, I threw my gun in the river, but he hadn't, also points to him knowing full well that what he did was wrong.
Well, I think that's a very interesting space for somebody to be in, to not be traditionally mentally ill, but to still be mentally ill. You know, not like, I think we just think you have to be schizophrenic or psychotic and that's it. But I think that there are these sort of middle places that people go based on trauma, especially. And I think you can, I mean, Jesus, I fucking disassociate. Like, I know what a fugue sort of weird transitional state feels like from personal experience. And you have no control over it. And that's the thing that's the craziest thing about it for me is I'm a person who generally has everything in control. And there is a part of my brain that I have no control over. And it's terrifying. And luckily it doesn't make me do bad things, but I can't go back. I have to just wait. And so I can definitely imagine that somebody who, you know, in my disassociation is a like low grade trauma response. So I can imagine with somebody with complex traumas of any kind, there are going to be moments in their life that they have no control over. And it doesn't have to be like a full-blown psychotic break where the fucking neighbor's dog is talking to you. It can be, you know, just a quick delusion where your lizard brain is screaming at you that you need to fight.
Yep.
Yep.
The prosecution also showed the difference in Ryan's actions. Oh, here we're going to talk about it again.
Great.
The prosecution also showed the difference in Ryan's actions between the 2 shootings, which happened eight months apart. Testimony from detectives for both cases showed that in the Stand Your Ground shooting, Ryan stayed at the scene, he called 911, and he handed his weapon over to police. In the second shooting, however, he left the scene, hid his rifle in the shed, and did not call 911.
Right.
The jury would side with the prosecution. It would take them only 3 hours to find Ryan guilty on all counts. The state of Louisiana has a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole for murder charges. And that is what Ryan was sentenced to.
I'm not surprised.
No. They also have, I guess it's not a term I come across very often, but they talk a lot about how you'd have to do hard time. So it's like labor, I think, is what they're referring to. So he was sentenced to life sentence, hard time.
Hard time.
Like a very sort of like feels very
archaic and
yes. Yes.
Yeah,
like it's not enough to sentence him. He got 2 life sentences plus 89 years hard time. Like
they have a fucking rodeo down there with
Yes.
these prisoners as rodeo props. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just sort of these things that pop up when you pay attention, like you have to when you're writing murder stories. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Makes me uncomfortable.
Makes me sick to my fucking stomach. Makes my brain melt.
Yep. After spending 1 year in prison, working through the appeals process, the Louisiana State Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals overturned Ryan's sentence.
Whoa, I did not see that coming.
I know. During his trial, Ryan was adamant that he testify in his own defense, but his lawyers wouldn't allow it.
Oh, snap.
He even asked the trial judge multiple times if he could take the stand, but the judge refused.
What? 101, guys. What the fuck?
I know. Like, I am not a... Oh, God, I can't even think of the word. What's the word?
Magistrate?
The document. No. The document that the...
Constitutional lawyer?
Yes.
Constitutional magistrate?
Commandments in my brain.
Not an expert on the commandments.
Right. But I do know that the one thing that you should have access to is defending yourself. Your own damn self.
Yes. It's your trial. It is your trial. You get to do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Yeah. And the court, the appeals paperwork, like has their, God, my brain, the response, the judge's written, I don't know, the
rebuttal.
Help me.
The rebuttal.
What do they call it when the judges, it's like their response. They're
spitballing.
When they write out why they ruled the way they did.
Commandment.
Yes. Anyway, they had transcripts.
God, what is that called?
I think I say it down here.
I can't wait to find out.
Yeah, right. Oh, their opinion. I think it's called an opinion.
Oh, really? That's not what I was thinking at all.
But in their opinion, they mapped out the transcripts of the court trials of like exactly the words that he said during the trial to the judge. And he is like, I want to get, like, please let me defend myself. I need to tell you what happened.
Right.
I want to be on the stand.
Right.
And at one point the judge was like, oh, well, but your defense team already, rested, so... But he even before then, like, was begging to be put on the stand, and the judge didn't allow it.
You got to, man.
Yes. So
got to.
They overturned it, which, duh. Like, good for them. I'm
Yes.
glad that if it's that obvious that the appeals court will be like, okay, let's try it again.
Seriously.
So the, quote, issue is whether an accused is deprived of a fundamental constitutional right when, after repeatedly and unequivocally stating his desire to testify before closing arguments, he's denied that right. The judges wrote in their opinion. The district attorney's office appealed the ruling to the Louisiana Supreme Court, but they denied hearing the case, so the appeals court ruling would stand. And I think that Ryan's going to be granted a new trial, but I even sent this to Megan because I looked and looked and looked, and I was Googling, like, lawyer terms because a lot of it is very confusing.
Yep.
And there isn't any follow-up. So nobody's written an article, like, telling... So I don't have to break my brain trying to figure out what the fuck's happening with his case.
Yeah.
But I did find the Supreme Court listing, like, they have this huge list of all the cases that they were supposed to, like, decide to hear or not or whatever.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure in that list it says that they denied the prosecution's appeal. Like, they're not good. They didn't hear it at all. They just said no. And so I'm pretty sure that means that the ruling from the appeals court stands.
So he is going to get a new trial.
I think so. To make matters more confusing is that when I look up Ryan in the Louisiana inmate, like Louisiana state database,
yeah,
there's 2 listings for him. One says he's still in prison. The other one says he's not.
What?
But the one that says he's in prison seems to be pretty legitimate. Like,
Yeah.
but I wanted to have some concrete, or I don't want to just make up the end of the story.
Yeah.
I couldn't find any information about a new trial date being set. I'm sure that COVID has slowed things down.
I'm sure.
I can't imagine that the prosecution would drop the case. I mean, he's clearly guilty, and
Right.
whether he pleads guilty and gets a lesser sentence or they go through trial again, but
Right.
I can't imagine they wouldn't try him again. So anyway, sort of,
Fuck.
sorry, up in the air. If some lawyers could look at the documents and tell me exactly what was happening.
We need to call in our counsel.
Seriously, well,
Or they
Megan
will
said,
kill counsel.
Megan was like, I'm so confused. Did you get your law degree overnight? And I was like, no, I was hoping you did, because
God.
help me.
Here's
I'm
a
glad
true
she
damn
couldn't-
story. Yeah, here's a quick true story. So I'm working on a shoot for my day job, a big video shoot, and we've contracted a celebrity for an upcoming shoot we're doing. And so James, my business partner, and I were like, well, fuck, we should probably get a legitimate talent contract going. Not this like rinky-dink bullshit we give to the people I find on like random New York talent boards and stuff. And so we're just sort of looking at other talent documents we've used before from like some of our bigger clients and stuff. And we're like, okay, we just got overwhelmed. I'm like, well, this seems appropriate, but this is not appropriate. But I don't want to start removing things from legal contracts. It's, as far as I'm aware, that's a bad idea. So call our lawyer and said, hey, we need a contract. And so we get on this fucking phone call. And this guy was like, well, I cost a pretty penny. So how about I just send you some contracts I've used with clients in the past, and you can just sort of pick and choose what you want out of them and put it together and then just send it back and I'll just like polish it up for you. And I was like, that is allowed? And he's like, yeah, sure. It can say whatever you want it to. I'm like, what? Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And between that and like real estate, I've learned that the law is just sort of a kind of a, let's just see what happens, you know? So
Yes.
it's like very confusing, and also nobody knows what it means.
Right. Well, I clearly don't.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't write down what it said, but I should say it out loud. I should go look it up and be like, lawyer listeners, what does writ
Of habeas corpus.
denied mean, or whatever? Like, I don't, I'd forget what it said, but the writ was denied. And I think it was the writ.
What is a writ?
I don't know. The writ from the prosecution.
I'm looking
Anyway,
it up
and
right
then I
now.
almost just
I've
went ahead
never
and called the prison. Can you just call prisons and be like, hey, is this inmate there? Will they tell
I think
you?
so. I think that's public information. I
think
mean, they
so,
might
too.
make you call like the local, courthouse or whatever to get that
Right.
public record. But
I mean, they put it on their website, sort of. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
You
very
should-
confusing.
what is a writ?
I googled it, but I don't remember.
It's a form of written command in the name of a court or other legal authority to act or abstain from acting in some way.
Okay, got that, Court? So what happens if the writ was denied? Depends on
Then-
which writ it is.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's whatever the prosecution writ.
The writ
that
they
was
writ.
denied.
Whatever
their
writ
appeal.
was written.
Their appeal of the appeal was denied.
So
Anyway, help
they
me, people.
They
Help
can
me.
either act or not act.
Yeah. Yep.
Or not.
So then Ryan just maybe sits in prison, maybe doesn't. We don't know.
Good
until
God, man.
something happens. Yeah.
I hate those cases. I hate the ones where if just one person had been nice to him,
No.
people wouldn't have died. It really is that fucking simple, guys.
It really is.
I've been thinking about this so much lately. Like, if you have an opportunity to alleviate suffering in your life, in your day-to-day, please do it. Please. Even a fucking bug in a sink, just skip the little fucker up, unless it's a tick. That guy goes right down the drain. All the
mosquito.
rest of them deserve a chance. Or a stink bug. Did you just say stink bug?
I said mosquito.
Yeah, I don't like those guys either. Yeah, they're just, they automatically die. But a stink bug also, that's fair
Yeah.
game. But everybody else, scoop them up, put them outside. Be nice. Be fucking kind.
Yes.
Alleviate
Hey,
suffering. It's Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's not hard.
No. I have one more paragraph.
Go for it.
Okay. We'll bring it back to the family real quick.
Yes, please.
Okay. Kim's family was torn apart by her murder. Her children had to be placed in separate homes when she died.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, I'm not. They lost their biggest support and the person who loved them the most. The community lost two wonderful people too. Kim and Alcee cannot be replaced, and some say the neighborhood changed forever the day they died.
Of course it did.
Kimberly's oldest daughter, Kristen, said, quote, "I will never get my mom back. I will never get my uncle back. My little cousin will always be traumatized after being shot at the age of 7. So, is there any justice? For my family, no. When he pulled that trigger, he destroyed our family that was so close." So, be nice.
Fuck that.
Yes. Help
Be-
each other.
Yes. God.
Yep.
Ugh.
I know. It's awful.
Just, how did we get here? How did we get here? I know how, sociopaths. But really, for real, how did we get here?
Well, generational trauma and
Yep.
fucking lack of support and
Yep.
on and on. Yeah, I had
Sadie
my
and
little...
Go ahead.
I had my first little dose, tiny little dose of dealing with bullying with my oldest. Just tiny little bit. I mean, it was really no big deal.
Yeah.
But I was like, kids are so mean. And they're not. I don't think that they really are in their hearts. They are, it's learned behavior. They, even at 7 or whatever, have to hurt each other to feel better about themselves because they've already been hurt
Yep.
as 7-year-olds.
Yes.
You know, and it's just like, can we stop? But no. I mean, like, yes, I think we can, but we gotta, like, do so much work. It's
I think we're
so
at the
much work.
Very beginning of talking about it, acknowledging it, like identifying it, and there is a major resistance from a lot of people, and I don't blame them because they don't want to give up their fucking blankie of control and meanness because it's just like their guns. It's the only thing that makes them feel better. But Sadie and I were talking about kind of family dynamics and how we were raised versus how children are raised now, and you know there's benefits and detriments to either way, any way you raise a kid. But you know, we're just talking about the sort of lack of engagement that like our parents' generation and their parents' generation had with them, and how sort of strange that is for us to conceptualize because we're just so obsessed with our children, you know. And I'm like, I want to know everything about my nephews, everything. They're going to be so fucking sick of me and so weirded out by me, you know, when they're teenagers. Because I'll be like, what's she like? Does she smell good? And, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And
does she smell good?
I don't, you know, I mean,
So
it's
creepy.
just weird. I don't know who she is. Like, they could be gay. Who knows? But I'm going to want to know who would, any female presenting, identifying person that comes into their life. I want to know how she smells. Because I just want to know. I'm just so fucking curious. And all my friends and I talk about this. And then, so we're just talking about how tired our parents were and how, you know, they didn't engage with us on that level. And then we were kind of going through this whole thing and being real critical of the generation before them. And then one of us was like, oh yeah, it's because they lived through World War II.
Right.
And yes. Oh fuck. All right, we should just shut our fucking mouths.
The depression and World War II and the pandemic not long before that.
And meanwhile,
World War One and
and meanwhile I'm like, why didn't they come to our softball games? I'm like, oh, because they watched the Japanese eat their best friend's face or what, you know. It's like they went through a lot. They went through a lot. And it doesn't excuse the horrible things that we've done to each other as a result, but we're far enough removed from that we can start to be like, okay, we've had it rough, but much better than they have. So let's take the tiny reserve of energy that we have and go to fucking therapy and encourage others to go to therapy, and then also intervene in other people's lives when they need help or they need care,
system so that we can everyone has access to food and shelter and mental health resources, and don't just have to work 700 hours a day.
Sadie, if we do that, how will the billionaires get to space? How will they?
I don't know. That's top priority.
What kind of fun are they going to have if they can't get right on up into space on an airplane?
They just. You're right. I take it back.
I'm getting choked up
Space
thinking
first.
about it. I'm getting choked up.
Space first, above all else, for the billionaires. For the billionaires.
Hey, guess what, billionaires? We've been in space for a long fucking time. You're not doing anything new. Go to hell.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you're doing it because the Earth is getting destroyed, and you better make sure that you can go live on Mars. Like, fuck you.
Oh my God, did you read that
world?
That thread from the NASA employee who was like, do you know how hard it is to live in space? Like, space is designed to kill you. Did you read that whole thing?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's basically like, there are literally thousands of people who are employed to keep, the people who go into space alive. Not even comfortable. They're not comfortable. They have constipation. They have to sit on suction toilets. Like they, their bones are turning to jelly. They slowly go insane. Like the one guy who was in space for a year, came back and quit immediately. He was like, "I'm done. No."
Did you watch the just quick side? Like he had a little. I think maybe it was on Netflix or Hulu, where he filmed himself for that whole year.
Right.
Like before and after. And it's really, it's
not
very long.
Yeah, Laura watched it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, they're not going to go to space and like sip fucking martinis and like have a nice life. Like,
no. Well, you can't just build a bubble around Mars and call it good. It's like, that's not how this works.
No, they're like, not in our lifetime, probably not ever, definitely not anytime soon. It's not going to fucking happen. Like, you can go to space for a week and you'll be real uncomfortable and then you'll just die anyway.
Well, yeah, let alone the 9 months it would take to get to Mars alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the billionaires are not going to colonize Mars. They cannot do it, and also go ahead and try, you dumb idiots. It's like fucking super PACs that dumped billions of dollars into the Trump campaign. I'm like, yeah, please, by all means, squander your fucking money on that, you dumb idiots. Like, go for it. Meanwhile, you could literally end homelessness in the United States, fucking student debt, and vaccinate the entire world and still be richer than you were before the pandemic 1 year ago.
Anyway, that's that.
Well,
fuck him.
Meanwhile, mothers and uncles die, and that is fucking tragic and awful.
Yeah, it really is. It's fucking awful.
So sorry for that happening.
Me too.
So we just fixed the world, and you guys are welcome. That once you take off your headphones and you walk outside, and you're gonna be like, "Oh shit,
God, the X Sisters did it."
Very different.
That's right, guys. You're welcome.
You're welcome. All it took was one slightly informed rant. Only informed through TikTok and Instagram stories. Hooray!
Hooray!
Hip hip hooray!
Oh, I'm tired. Saving the world is exhausting.
I would do it if I could do it.
And I would do it too.
I mean, I'm trying. But if I could, boop, bing, whatever, dive into the volcano to save the earth myself, I would do it. Maybe. I don't know.
I think I would do it.
I would pay somebody to push me. I couldn't throw myself in the volcano.
A good point.
Yeah, but I would be like, okay, just don't tell me, like, you're getting a
drug
shot.
me,
Like, don't
put me to
tell
sleep,
me.
and then just throw me in there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Totally.
Don't count down. No, I don't count down. Then I know you're going to push me to the volcano. You just got to push me. Fuck. I'd have to hire another person.
God. Yeah. God, that makes me think of, went up to see Courtney. When was that? A week
4th
ago?
of July.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
And I was in the lake with my 3-year-old who wants to be dunked, which is a new experience as a parent. My oldest does not.
Yeah.
Hates putting his face in the water still. And so then I'd say, okay, I'm going to count to 3, but I could tell that the anticipation was like,
oh, yeah.
Like,
it's the worst
so
part.
much crazier. Yeah.
Yes.
So then I switched to like, okay, just dunk. And then, but he didn't really like that either. So We haven't figured out our perfect dunking technique yet.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Like, getting surprised by it is not cool, but also knowing is kind of much worse. It's a lose-lose.
Well, and he had his little swimmy wings on or whatever, and so you have to do extra force to get him under the water. So.
Well, it's also like, I'm one of those people who, when I'm wading out into the water, I'm very cold. I just need to take my time. I don't need your fucking advice about, just get your head wet. Oh, it's not bad. Shut up. I don't need you to help me, and I don't need you to advise me. I just need to be mad until I'm warmer.
Right.
You know? Like, that's it. Just let me figure it out. Once it gets up over my organs, I know I'll feel better, but I need to do it in my own time.
That's right.
Keep your opinions to
Don't
yourself.
look me in my eye until I'm done.
It's like when you hit your elbow and everyone wants to ask you if you're okay, and then you want to punch them because you're in so much pain. You're like, don't fucking talk to me!
Yeah, I stubbed my toe the other day, and it made me so mad that it scared my kids. And then I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not mad. It just really hurt, and nobody did anything, and it's not about, I'm just angry.
Well, and in that moment, I'm like, yeah, what do you think just happened to me? Do you think I just, like, got shot? I just stubbed my toe. You don't need to ask me if I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like, I just get that mad that I'm suddenly, like, judging them for caring for me.
Oh, Lord.
And meanwhile, I'm like, if everyone just was kinder to each other, and, like, somebody shows me an ounce of kindness, I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
Oh, Lord.
Well,
Got names?
I do. It's a slower week, which is good because, God, we could be here for months some of these weeks. It's, that's my list for TJ Maxx. It did get all those things off of there. I wrote shampoo, condish. Mm-hmm. Okay. We have Emily Wigglesworth.
These Wigglesworths, man.
Fuck all of them. It's just
all
too
of them.
Damn charming. It's hard to believe that they exist. It's hard to believe that somebody in an office somewhere is named Emily Wigglesworth.
Well, how do you, like, introduce yourself without just being followed by giggles? I would not.
Never.
Like, hello, what's your name? Oh, I'm Emily Wigglesworth. I'd be like, you're fucking kidding me.
You know what, though? It would be such motivation to rise in the ranks and become a magistrate.
Yeah, right.
Keep calling them magistrates. Just be a judge or a lawyer.
Wigglesworth. I'm looking it up
the
right
Honorable Judge Emily Wigglesworth presiding.
I'm going to see if there's any Judge Wigglesworths out there right now.
Oh my God, please. Please do.
Wiggles.
No. Tell me.
Wait.
It's
Sorry. There was somebody named Brochet Wigglesworth on Judge Judy. It's telling me.
Oh, that's different.
There's a lot of Wigglesworths. There's a LA Times writer named Alex Wigglesworth.
What? That would be a good thing to aspire to. So you always have a byline of Wigglesworth.
Yeah. There was a Michael Wigglesworth from Georgetown University.
See? All the Wigglesworths trying to climb the ranks, trying to climb on up. Be that judge. Be a politician. Be a Senator Wigglesworth.
A Puritan artist. Michael Wigglesworth.
Exactly. What does that mean? See, but that makes more sense. If I hear the last name Wigglesworth, I think Puritan artist. I think somebody who makes like artisanal things like jams and butters and fiddles.
I could not find a Judge Wigglesworth, so somebody out there make it happen. And then explain us the law.
Explain us the law, please. I'm gonna enact a writ of explanation.
Please.
Michael. And they were like, our listener was like, not Michael Michaels. His the last name was Michael, and his parents named him Michael.
Like, I get it. I'm tired right now, and if I had the last name Michael, I would just say, well, I mean, what? Don't
why
fix
try?
what isn't broken?
Right.
Yeah.
Just slap that shit on there twice. Can you just imagine telling your family and friends, though? Like, what are you going to name your kid? We're thinking Michael. And, like, the processing and, like, oh, wait, are their last name Michael? Did I get that wrong? I'm second-guessing myself because why the fuck would you name your kid Michael?
That'd be really cute. What if your last name was Michael and you adopted a little baby Michael?
Extremely cute. Yeah, very, very meant to be. Drew P. Sachs.
Drew P. Sachs.
Yep. Drew P. Sachs. S-A-X-X.
That's not real.
And one of our listeners owns a little independent bakery called Would You Like Pies With That?
Oh, I would. Do you deliver pies? I need a pie.
Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Now that we're talking about pie, I gotta go get one. I gotta go get a key lime pie. The little slice.
Ryan brought home a tub, jar, I guess. It's a jar, not a tub. A jar of strawberry rhubarb jam.
Ooh.
Oh, man, it's like eating a pie every day, if I want.
I love strawberry rhubarb.
Yeah, toast all of a sudden. With now a pie.
Chunks of rhubarb in it?
Yes.
Fuck, yeah. Yep.
Yes. Yep. And I bought biscuits because I was like, that's going to be good. So I bought some biscuits. I made the biscuits, and then I was going to treat my children to pie biscuits, and neither of them would eat it.
And that's why we will draft them to World War II, because they are ungrateful and too far away from the origin of the trauma.
Yes, and they both said that the reason they wouldn't eat it is because Ryan makes amazing biscuits and gravy.
Oh my God.
And they only eat their biscuits with gravy. And I was like, but this is actual pie. Like, this is, if you take a bite of this, it's going to taste like pie. And they wouldn't do it. Eventually, the 3-year-old did. And then he was like, this is so delicious. And I was like, dude, I know.
And then you dropped them both off in fucking Utah and told them to fend for themselves for 2 weeks.
Like gravy so much, learn how to make it yourselves in the wilderness. That's what I said.
I dropped them off with a hunk of bacon and some flour.
I've been watching a new season of Alone as on Netflix.
Me too.
And so I just finished it, and I always feel like such a badass when it's over. Just so weird. Like, why would I think that I had anything to do with that show? I endured watching it, so now I'm like the real survivalist.
Oh, for sure. Well, okay, so I felt real good about myself last night because the whole time we're on the new season, and I kept being like, why the fuck is nobody making a gill net? Where are the gill nets?
Right.
Why those
Everybody
things scoot, produce. You get so many fishes if you put a fucking gill net in there. And I've been saying it every episode, furious beside myself. They finally flashed up on the screen that due to restrictive laws in the region, they weren't allowed to put out gill nets until day 45. And I was like, oh, who's the winner? Who's the wilderness expert?
I'm the one that's on Netflix is like the $1 Million Arctic one.
Yep.
And one of the ladies starts making a raft, and I was like, waste of time. It's just, and I'm speaking out loud. Ryan's there. He's like, well, it's not a bad idea. I was like, it is a complete waste of time. She's wasting her time and energy getting in a raft. Sure enough, she like takes 2 strokes out into the water, and she's like, no, this was a terrible idea. Goes back, and I was like, booyah, I can totally survive.
Totally. Well, there's this season where the one guy made a raft for like 30 days and like starved to death and died.
Yes.
He didn't die. But I mean, that's all he did was make a raft. He like didn't make a fire or shelter or food or anything. He just, well, I'm going to make this raft. And then his canoe, and then he got his canoe all hand hewn and fucking tanned and whatever else. And then the fish had stopped running.
Yeah. Or the people who like try to chink their logs, like.
Yeah.
To make an actual log house, but then only get it a foot high because they're so exhausted. They have to leave. It's like, anyway, I would not. I get like a tiny bit of hunger in my belly, and I'm dead. I would last. Mad, so
I have to eat every half hour. I would last 20 minutes, and I would have a blood sugar crash, and I'd be all hypoglycemic. My new thing too is like calling out when people are making up reasons they have to go home on the new season, especially. I'm like, faker. He just doesn't want to look like a total wuss for going home because he's starving and desperate.
Well, then, like, and then there's some people that, like, are literally dying. They are so starving and their feet are falling off from frostbite. They're like, no, give me one more day.
Yeah,
it's like such a mental... I would get there and be like, oh, this was a fun helicopter ride to wherever. I'm Patagonia. I'm going to go home now.
Yeah.
Thank you for the trip.
I think it was season 2. The guy literally like dropped him off and he was like, nope, boop, I gotta go. That would be me.
Yes. I cannot. I get spooked by the bunnies in my yard. Like, not even, like, let's not even talk about what it takes to kill animals. I couldn't do it. I would be like, ooh.
No.
Just torturing the poor thing because I can't hit it hard enough over its head. Like,
no, under no circumstance. No.
So, anyway, that's the Alone review.
Yeah, so you guys will be happy to know that neither of us are going to take 60 days off this podcast to try to be on the Alone. Cause
right.
I did take a wilderness survival class when we were in AmeriCorps and like paid these guys to come out. We were living in tents in Oregon for 3 months and had these guys come out. And it was such fucking bullshit because they were like, well, first you need a like 20 by 20 foot sheet of plastic. No fucking exaggeration. A tin can, a knife, like all this. I was like, what? So basically, if you're going to need a water purifier, you're going to need, I'm like, what? Excuse me? This is very specific. That like I'm going to need to fall on a very specific island to make this whole rig work.
Get your phone out and Google ways to purify water.
Yeah,
and it'll tell you, and that's how you survive.
And then you put a rock in the middle, and then you string it with rope between all these trees. And I'm like, well, okay, great. And then
get your chainsaw out.
Yeah, and then we were whittling our sticks to do a fire starter, which 100% when people don't bring flint or fire starters on Naked and Afraid or Alone, I'm like, you are never going to drink water, you're never going to get a fire, because that shit is damn near impossible. We were whittling our sticks, and my friend dragged his knife across my lap. He like did a thing where he like faked out our friend sitting to my left and turned his hand at the last minute, like 19-year-old dudes do. So he was like pretending like he was going to stab him and then turned his hand like, oh, just kidding, punched him in the arm instead. But as he was dragging the knife back across my lap, he cut the shit out of me, and I have permanent nerve damage on my pointer finger as a result. So
cool.
That was the universe saying,
don't ever go on alone.
You're not going to be an outdoor survivalist. No. Just in case you were considering it.
Yeah, every once in a while I'm like, I think I could like hiking. I fucking hate it. I like the idea.
Oh my God. Well, Sadie can attest to this too. We all went to the beach when they were here, and there was a bunch of us and their kids and babies and stuff, and I packed enough food for like 45 days.
Yeah, you really did. So much food.
And part of it, the biggest reason was because I know how much effort it takes to get off the beach and then to like get the kids' sand off of them. And you know, it's like, you don't want to leave the beach once you're at the beach. But I also, a bigger part of it is I hate being hungry. So it's like, I don't want anybody to experience hunger ever. If you come to my house, you're probably going to get very well fed because...
Yes. You'll never see a better stocked fridge.
No. Embarrassing hoarder level. Anyway.
Yeah. No, she brought so much food and we ate all of it, right? Like,
well,
between the 10 of us, we ate 75 days worth of food.
Legitimately.
And then we had to order a pizza for dinner that was delivered to the beach.
Most beaches, well, I don't know, my town will let you order pizza at the beach, which is
amazing.
The height of fucking luxury. If I was a 6-year-old boy and my aunt ordered pizza to the beach, I would just be like, she's famous. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I think you should have waited. We should have done that when they were like 10, so they knew enough about the world to know that isn't normal.
Oh, you're right. I've totally
They're just going to grow up
failure.
thinking that pizza gets delivered to the beach and picnics just happen. And
right. Oh, whatever. Send them out to make gravy in the wilderness of Utah. They'll come back and understand
Totally.
how much value there is in that.
Let's do a couple shout outs.
Oh, right. Yes.
Look at just a couple. Thank you so much. Oh, these are Patreon members who joined recently. You could do so too. $3 to start. More if you want some goodies.
Yep.
And there's 50 million, like 52 episodes or something crazy.
Yeah, and if you pledge $20 a month, I'll write you a sonnet.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not.
So thank you so much to Denise G.
Denise, Gregory, Alan, Wigglesworth, Delilah, Allenstein, Hedgen,
Yes.
the DDS. The DDS.
Oh,
Thank you,
Lord.
Denise.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Kristen W.
Oh, Kristen wants you to come on over, baby. Come on over, baby. When you get to her house, make yourself at home. Make yourself comfortable, but not too comfortable because she's got shit to do.
Thank you so much to Katrina O.
Oh, I love the name Katrina. And what does O stand for? Oscillates. Katrina oscillates between bad and badder.
Yes. It also stands for Australia.
Yes, Sadie.
Katrina's from Australia.
Yes, it does.
Ask my 7-year-old new reader. He'd think so.
I mean, it would only make sense.
Yes. But anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No,
Katrina
she
O.
oscillates between bad and batter. That is fucking common knowledge in Australia.
Thank you.
Australia.
Thank you so much to CW.
Okay. Cute.
Yeah.
It makes me think of my high school girlfriend whose initials were CW, and she was a poet, and she wrote with the pen name C.W. Williams because she was writing about other girls and didn't want people to know that it was a girl writing about girls. And that makes me really emotional to talk about.
Man, that's really sad.
But it's also really beautiful. And she won fuck tons of awards. Like it was like the 1500s or something.
But still, I mean, like Central Indiana in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
had to
writing these,
CW yourself.
Yeah, writing
Unfortunately.
these beautiful love poems about your high school girlfriend, aka me.
You should read some next time.
Oh, she really, really was and is an amazing poet.
Yeah,
like legit.
She really is.
And could sing like a lark. So, CW, if you're anything like my dear, dear, sweet CW, you are the fucking best. And she found the heart of the earthworm when they were dissecting earthworms. And
Holy shit.
who does that?
Poets.
C.W. Williams does. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Oh, and this patron said I could say her whole name.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much to Nicole Powers.
She needs no explanation. She
Nope.
needs no introduction. She's Christina Powers.
Nicole.
She's Nicole Powers. She's so powerful, she wipes your memory. Any mention of her, I mean, it's wiped clean.
All I can remember is the badass last name.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, good for you, man. Welcome to life with the last name Powers. But it's
Shit, yeah, man.
super comfy.
I need it. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, thank you so much to Dietrich T.
Okay. Like, what do you even do if your name is Dietrich?
I just sit around and be fucking
I
cool.
mean, royalty or cult leader or religious founder, founder of a religion,
Yep.
or rap artist. I was a rap battle winner.
Yes.
You definitely win rap battles if your name is Dietrich. Fuck, that is such a good name, and it makes me want you to have new children so that we can name one of them Dietrich.
Let's do it. I mean, no.
'Cause-
Please, God, no.
No, I mean have them over again, not new ones, but just redo it.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
start again. Redo.
You know when a name is so good that you hear it after the only opportunity you have to help name something is come and gone, and you're like, fuck. Dietrich. Where was that when we were doing it? Not that I regret either of their names, but Dietrich, I would have fought hard for that name.
It's a great name.
I feel like it could go either boys or girls. Like, I mean, it's 2021. You can name boys or girls whatever the fuck you want, but I feel like Dietrich would be really cool as a girl's name too.
Yep. That's all I got.
We love you guys
so much. My computer's getting ready to die.
Okay, come over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at They Will Kill. Come to our website, theywillkill.com, and email us at theywillkillpodcast@gmail.com.
Right, rate, review, subscribe, please. And thank you, AJ Bergans, for our music.
Remember to be kind and to alleviate suffering. It's not that fucking hard. And we love you. And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.